Off.
Yeah.
What was that? There was a TV show.
Beverly Hillbillies.
That's what it was. I saw the Beverly Hillbillies, and I couldn't remember. It's on the
Yep,
theme song, isn't it? At the very end.
it is
Yeah.
the very last thing when the song's over.
I remember back when that show was new, Jim, don't you?
First thing you know, old Jed's a millionaire.
Yep.
Half these people have no idea what we're talking about. That's
So
okay.
Buddy Ebsen was the Scarecrow on Wizard of Oz.
I did not know that.
Indeed, he was. That was his role.
Hmm.
Little known fact.
All right. I think everyone is comfortably seated. We got a great starting attendance. So let's turn on the recording, please, Alyssa. Charge. Welcome to our brilliant agents and investors nationwide. Today is February 1st, 2024, and this is All the Leads Mastermind podcast number 465. Bruce, take it away.
No warm up or anything. Man,
Old
my
open. Let's
voice
call
is
this old open, buddy.
hoarse after class yesterday. Great class through Probate Mastery on prospecting. A lot of you guys were there. It was great seeing some of you all, and we were covering unique selling propositions and how to deal with resistance, which we should all somewhat expect a little bit of resistance when we're establishing relationships with someone for the first time with a financial goal in mind for ourselves. Right? It's all good. I want to kind of open today by talking a little bit about our vendor teams. This could either be the topic of conversation for the day and help drive some questions, or we could shift a little bit. And before I really get into building your vendor list out, I do want to let everybody here know if you're live on Zoom, we want to hear your questions. So if you've never been here before, or maybe you haven't been here for a while and you're on Zoom, and you have a question about the probate business, deal, how to get started, what your marketing needs to look like, prospecting techniques, websites, you name it. I want you to go to the bottom of your screen and raise your hand. So bottom of your Zoom screen, raise your hand. I've got a bad echo. Testing. Okay, we're good. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook live stream right now, you can chat your questions in. We're monitoring those and we will call on you. Okay, or we won't call on you, but we'll answer your chatted in questions. This call is for those of you that have questions. And if you don't have a question, at least you get to hear what other people are doing and other questions that are coming in. If you have a win, please share that win with the group. We want to hear from those of you that are experiencing some successes as well, whether that's just prospecting or you signed a deal or you closed something, anything like that. Raise your hand, share your wins. This is the All the Leads Mastermind. It's hosted by All the Leads and alltheleads.com. All the Leads provides probate data, divorce records, pre-probate data, other lead sources on the way very, very soon. Along with not just the data, but a skip tracing done for you where you get all your contacts, phone numbers, addresses. They have marketing campaigns for direct mail, websites, lots of really cool stuff. So if you are not a subscriber, I encourage you guys to jump over to alltheleads.com and check that out. And Alyssa will post any links for you to check county pricing in chat here in just a moment. Now, before I go to building your team, let's see if the call takes on a life of its own. I've got Coley here with a question. Coley, if you'd go right ahead, ask away.
Hey, hello everybody. I'm new
How's
to
it
the
going?
probate. I'm doing pretty well, and yourself?
Good.
So I'm new to the probate mastery family. Just started the course. I think I just did session one. So my question is, I have a lady that is interested in selling her home by next summer. She's having issues with Canada. That's where her husband passed away, her spouse, and there's no cause of death on the death certificate. As a result, she can't access her life insurance policies. So I was wondering if there's any type of resource that I can access to help facilitate the resolution of that issue for her? And then secondly, my question is, after the cold call, what would be the next best follow-up? I know you said mentioning providing a website. I'm in the midst of doing that, but in the meantime, is there any other type of follow-up I could do after the cold call?
So, husband passed away in Canada. Was he a Canadian citizen or a U.S. citizen?
I think it was a U.S. citizen living in Canada,
Living in
Manitoba,
Canada. Okay. Where is probate filed?
in Santa Clara County, California.
Okay, got it. All right. So, having some issues accessing life insurance, which life insurance is outside of probate. One of the things, did she have an attorney?
Yes.
Okay. Have you had a conversation with the attorney yet?
No, I haven't talked to the attorney.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. That would probably be the first step. This is gonna benefit you in many, many ways. I'm always looking for an excuse to talk with my prospects' attorneys,
Mhm.
always, because an attorney will double the amount of business that you're going to get out of probate. Maybe not one, but your attorney relationships, when properly approached and built and worked on, will double the business you get out of a niche.
Mhm.
So this is just one small excuse to call and have a conversation with her attorney. So it could be that the attorney knows a couple of things. The Canadian process is definitely going to be a little bit different. The big thing is in Canada, they do handle probate differently, and we're not privy to all the um, intrinsical differences between U.S. probate and Canadian probate, but it's similar enough. I would talk to the attorney first.
Uh-huh.
You're talking to the attorney to ask them this question, maybe brainstorm some solutions. Number two is you're talking to the attorney so that at the end of the call, you can say, "Hey, I'd like to hear more about your practice. Can I stop by the office next week?"
Mhm.
I want you building a relationship with that attorney. It's going to help your business. Now, back to the matter at hand, I may also get a letter of authorization to communicate with the life insurance company. I mean, I know why they don't want to pay it out if there's not a cause of death. You may call the coroner's office in Canada and find out why there wasn't a cause of death, and ask if it was a simple oversight. Both of those are probably going to require a letter of authorization that's notarized from the heir. So you're probably going to want to get that to be able to speak
Well,
to.
it's a cause of death, I guess, is
Right.
the main issue, right? So I guess that wouldn't solve it, but it might expedite it, is what she's saying.
Yeah, I think that somebody just forgot to list the cause of death. I mean, I get it. The insurance company, they're not going to pay it out if they don't know how the person passed. So, probably an oversight at the municipalities level or at the coroner's office. So I would either have her call the coroner and ask why there was no cause of death, if that's something that could be added, or get authorization for you to call them. I normally like to take on projects like that for my clients, for my prospects, because it really builds a lot of goodwill. A lot of goodwill. And then you need to talk to the attorney and ask if they have done anything to help with a process like this as well. So get a hold of the attorney, get the lady's permission first. Can I speak with your attorney? Talk to the attorney, ask them if they've done anything like this. Ask for a meeting with the attorney unrelated to this case. Um, Call the coroner if you can, or have her do it, and then call the life insurance company or have her do it. For the coroner and the life insurance company, you're probably going to need her written authorization notarized to be for them to give you any information. But do those.
Bruce,
Second part of your question was what happens
I was,
after you've established. Go ahead, Tim.
I'm sorry, bud. Let me continue talking over you. I thought you were stopping. The attorney already has standing. If he's the attorney for the estate and the personal rep, attorney's already got standing. All he would have to do is petition the coroner's office without going through, any other powers or authorizations or anything else. The attorney should simply petition the coroner's office in Canada. Couldn't they do that easier than anybody else?
Yeah, yeah, I would imagine they
Still,
probably already have the authorization.
yeah, you're still interceding on behalf of the client who doesn't know what to do, but don't rather than it forcing you to do all the work and you get asked questions that you don't know the answers to by a municipality in Canada, have the attorney handle it. That's what they get paid for. Let them go do it. And then you're not stuck in the middle of trying to figure out, and potentially, you could muck it up and not ask the right questions and then delay the process. Let the attorney do it. It's on their back and it's to their advantage because it's going to get things closed up quicker and they can get paid if there's proceeds from the estate.
So we're also assuming here that the attorney is good.
That's true.
Yeah. We're assuming here that that would have been their first steps and that they're gonna go do it. And we've all heard the nightmare stories about attorneys that just let things linger and don't do anything. Now, I don't want to assume that that's the case. I want to talk to the attorney first.
Yeah. I agree. I'm not, and you're on the right track. I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying if the conversation with the attorney says, yeah, it's a good guy, nobody ever, just didn't run that through them, that may be the right way to go do it, rather than you as a citizen unrelated to the case and without standing in it at all to try to go petition a court in Canada for a death cert on somebody who died in California. That's a lot of hair that, attorney representing the estate doesn't have.
So I would say that you would be the last person that should do it of the three, of potentially more than three. So you've got any other beneficiaries on the life insurance policy. They should call before you do. The attorney should probably be the person that is the first line of communication and the one that should go do this. Assuming that they're going to do it, you stay out of it. You have a conversation with the attorney and tell them what you talk to the person, get permission to talk to them, and ask them if they know anything about that and if they can help. Okay. Client, their prospect should be the next person that goes and tries to get these solutions figured out. Talk to the insurance company in the corner. Any other heirs or beneficiaries to the life insurance should be third, assuming that none of them take any action and the attorney doesn't take any action. The heirs are, let's say, I don't want to use the expression incompetent. I'm not talking about legally, but they're just not able to do anything. Then I would step in and help out if I could. Okay. But the attorney should probably be the first person to step up and do that. I'm going to ask Coley to unmute himself because he had a follow-up question and I can't remember what it was. Can you go ahead and unmute?
Yes, it was about the follow-up after the cold call. So my strategy generally is to warm up with direct mail, send them a letter, and then within a week, I like to call them. So now that I've called them, my next step was to follow up with an email. And usually that would be to direct them to my website. While that's being under construction, what other type of follow-up could I do via email after, or what other follow-up can I do in general after the cold call?
Is this a cold call where you communicate with them or where you leave a message or they don't answer?
Oh, this is if they answer the phone and I actually have a conversation with them.
Yeah, absolutely. So you want to brainstorm out a handful and think in terms of big picture right now. So you don't need to get granular today. I would sit down and I'd think, if I was a PR, what are some things that I might not know right now that I might want or need later? Am I going to need an estate sale company later? Am I going to need a clean out crew later? Am I going to need a good accountant later? Am I going to need to sell a house later? What are some of those things that I may need or not know about that a year from now I'll wish I would have known about? And I want to write something about each one of those things separately, individually. And so think about your categories right now and put maybe 5, 6, 7 touch points together. And then go in and write some content, whether that be letter content or email content, and send it out just on a periodic drip. Hey, I was thinking about you. One of the things that a few of my other clients have needed is a good estate sale company. I've used XYZ Estate Sales. They're really good. I vouch for them. If you want a quote, call this number. And by the way, I bring the number back to me. You don't have to, but I would. I'd bring the number back to me, and then I'd be in the middle of coordinating any quotes and connections and things like that. You do the same thing with the other vendors, and you also want to sprinkle in at least one out of every 3 or 4 touch points that you have ongoing. Something about you and your direct service. So I help with all these things. Here's a list of things, but I also help with real estate, and this is what I can do. Call me if you need anything. And then that's like one out of every 3 or 4 touches. The other touches need to be help centered. You might need this, you might need that. Here's who I use. Here's a discount code if you get that from your vendors. So think about the things that they're going to need through probate and build your content that you're going to send out around those items that they will have wished that they knew in a year.
Yeah, I mean the other thing are just reviews. I mean, again, social proof. If you talk to them and you have a great conversation, they still might be thinking, "Is this a scammer? Like, I really like this person, but maybe they're a scammer." So I think social proof. You want to send your reviews out, probate website like we just talked about, but also a probate checklist. Show that you're knowledgeable. Right along what Bruce is saying. Your probate checklist is all the things you're probably going to need to gather for the attorney. So that's immediately helpful for that person. But I would try to get them onto Zoom also, because if you're able to get them onto Zoom, then you can show them your reviews while you're sitting there, so they know it's legitimate. They know it's the right person. And then also I would send them comparable sales. People always want to send listings out to buyers, but send them all the active, pending, and sold in their subdivision. It's a great touch point too.
On that topic, you're waiting on your website. Good. Get the website. Over time, you want to build some other content in. So you might want to shoot a couple of videos or write a few blogs. Kind of the next content step that I would do is I would go build out a killer LinkedIn profile. LinkedIn ranks really, really high if somebody searches you, really high. And if your profile is killer and it has plenty of probate and estate related content in it, then they're going to find that and you're going to look extremely credible. I wouldn't direct someone to my LinkedIn from a letter. I direct them to my website, but they're going to Google you. Okay. So make sure that when they Google you, you've got some content and some platforms out there that do talk about helping people in the probate or the life transition space. And LinkedIn is a great place to do that.
Yeah, I've been starting to build out some short videos. I talked about the potential fraud that was committed. So I had an ex-client said she wanted me to shred documents. So I just grabbed some paper, stood in front of a shredder. I was like, "Here, I'm shredding documents for a client of mine personally. I'm handling it, making sure it's securely shredded before we do the rest of the clean out at the home." But just like 30 seconds. I mean, TikTok has skyrocketed in popularity because a lot of times people just want to watch a real quick video, get a little information, and move on to something else. So I'm doing a bunch of 30-second to 1-minute videos.
Awesome. Cool. All right. Sheila and then Emily. So Sheila, you're up next. What do you got for us today? Can you unmute yourself? If not, I'll come back to you in a second, Sheila. You're still on mute. Let's go to Emily, and then Sheila, I'll come back to you.
Mine is kind of piggyback on the LinkedIn. I send out letters and I have a website with all the leads, but I don't know, or maybe I missed, like, how do I know people are going to my website? But LinkedIn sends me a notification weekly that tells me X amount of people saw your site. So I know I'm getting traction on LinkedIn, but I have no content. So is there a Zoom call that you guys did that talks about the type of content to put on there?
Interesting. Yeah.
Because I have none, and I put on my, one that I tested, one that I had for sale, but that's all I have on there and nothing else. So I need something, because people are going to my LinkedIn. Like you said, it is a big traffic site, but I need ideas. I don't like videos. Videos are not my thing. So what kind of content could I post?
Sure. Yep. So number one, I'm gonna challenge you on videos. Everybody always gets sick of me challenging them on videos. Videos aren't the thing of a lot of people. We just feel really uncomfortable staring at a camera lens and talking. It's really uncomfortable. Um, One of the things, and I'll get off of video here in just a second, so I don't want to force something that's not going to happen. But one of the things that I like to do with video, especially if I'm not good at just staring at a camera lens and trying to talk off the cuff or even read a teleprompter, is I'll do interviews with my vendors. So an estate sale company, attorneys, I'll just ask some questions. Our cameras are on, we're on Zoom, and it's recorded, and it gets turned into video really, really nicely without the pressure of normally sitting in front of a camera and doing video. So LinkedIn, we have not done a class. I think that would be an exceptional workshop or class that would probably be good to put on. Anybody that is interested in seeing a pretty decent LinkedIn profile, and I have not worked on mine in a long time. I worked on mine for about a half a day and built out a strong LinkedIn profile, Bruce Hill. Might be Bruce Barrett Hill, but Bruce Hill, you guys will recognize me. I built my profile out, and it's not all about probate, and I don't have tons of articles and blogs on there, but I have a nice little blurb about what I do. And we need to recognize that most people, when they go and look at you, they're not going to read all your content. They're going to hit the highlights, and they want to make sure that you appear professional. They satisfy that curiosity inside of about 10 seconds. It's either this person has no profile presence at all. Like that, basically I go here and there's no content, there's no photo, anything like that, or they go and they see that there's some stuff on there. And for the most part, they don't have to go to your articles and blogs. So I would write a few blogs. So I would come up with a few topics in the real estate space or in the probate space, and I'd go to ChatGPT if I didn't like to write, and I'd have it write a few blogs around that topic, and then I'd go clean it up and edit and kind of turn it into my own. If you like to write, come up with your topic and then hit your maybe 4 or 5 points that you think are the most important under that topic and write about them. Write a couple of articles right in LinkedIn. I can promise you, because I have articles up that don't get read a lot, my site gets visited about 1,000 times for every one person that's going to click on my articles. So it's not about writing great blogs and articles on LinkedIn, but you probably want 1 or 2 on there. And otherwise, I would just spend a half a day and build your profile out and make it look really professional. And guess what? It's an asset for you at that point that's going to work for a long time. And you don't have to update it very often. And I can tell you that because I haven't updated mine in a long time either. But it still gets good traffic, and it still makes me look pretty good when somebody looks me up.
Hey, Bruce, go ahead. I'm sorry, finish.
Nope, go ahead, Jim.
Before we go to George, Sheila wanted to share a win with us. I feel like Sheila had the same issue a few weeks ago. Can we unmute her, or does she have to do it herself? She says she can't unmute, but she wants to share a win.
Let's see, Sheila.
Pretty sure several weeks ago she had the same problem.
So I can ask you to unmute, but I don't personally have a way to unmute you. Let's see if Alyssa does. If somebody does, I've asked you to unmute. I don't know if it's going to work. I'd like to.
I don't either, but I did post the phone number for her to try to call in so that she potentially could share that with us. So
Hey, let me tell you something about that, and maybe this will help. On your screen, and at any point, you have to agree to accept the fact that it's being recorded. And if you haven't done that, it won't let you unmute. So if you haven't
there you go.
Was that it? Was that it? That was it. No, I don't want this to be recorded.
Second time,
agree to the rules before you're allowed to play.
I'm like, okay.
Good solve, Tim.
Yeah, so the lady that called her back in March of last year, she hung up on me. I sent her an email. Couple of days later, I tried to get her again, was a little bit more gentle in my approach. She kind of listened to me, but then no, I gotta go. I'm not sure. I don't know what I'm gonna do. And then the next time I called her was a couple of weeks later. I said, well, have you done anything with the contents of the house? Because she had indicated that she does want to sell it. She goes, well, no, I haven't even thought about that. This is the estate sale company. So I sent her the estate sale company. She clicked through it. She picked one. That was in May. The estate sale didn't take place until the end of September. She listed with us in December, at the end of the month, like right before New Year's. We closed on it 2 days ago.
Wow.
And she is so happy. She's like, I've gotten so many calls from realtors, but Sheila was just so patient with me and not pushy and not like sounding desperate that she needed the business, which we don't, but it's always nice to have. That's why we subscribe. And that's my story. I'm sticking to it.
That's exceptional. So it went from hanging up on you to closing with you 2 days ago. Did you say it was a year? What was the span of time?
9 months.
9 months. Hung
Yeah.
up on you. You listed the house. Amazing.
We listed the house. We sold it within like 15 days and already closed on it.
Yep.
Yeah,
Hey, Bruce, that reminds me at the beginning of the call, that really illustrates something you said at the beginning of the call. You said expect resistance.
Mhm.
I would add to that resistance is a good thing. I know when I was prospecting, the ones that I didn't get any resistance, call me back tomorrow at 2 or come over Wednesday at 3, the percentage of them that would cancel was huge.
Mhm.
The ones that put up the most resistance, often when they were finally ready, were the easiest to convert.
yeah.
So,
You know,
go ahead. Yeah.
go ahead. Ken, 1 second. You know why they're the easiest is because they're resisting everyone else and everyone else takes the resistance at face value.
Yep.
Okay. I like resistance because that means none of y'all are going to call my lead anymore. And I'm going to have a chance to build a relationship with them. Okay. So resistance is good. It's good. And it also gives you great opportunity to build rapport by validating their position. So you never want to say, actually, you're wrong. Let me tell you why you do need my help that you just turned down. That's a great way to get hung up on. Okay. Agree, validate. I don't care if they're wrong. I want them to feel like I've fully embraced that resistance. Go ahead, Ken. Sorry to interrupt, man.
Well, I mean, basically what you're saying, I mean, sometimes the resistance is not because they're mean people or they don't like you personally. It's just they're a person that has a hard time making a decision. So like the next time you call them, hey, I called you. I know it's hard to choose the right person and make a decision. You're probably overwhelmed. Like Bruce said, acknowledge what they're going through, um, and then build the relationship from there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sometimes these people they're overwhelmed. They don't want to make a decision, and that friendly voice that continues to reach out, that's the person that's going to break through. So nice job, Sheila. That's amazing.
One
Amazing.
of my
Yeah.
favorite answers when I was prospecting, if somebody would make a comment like, "You realtors are driving me crazy," I'd say, "I know, we can really be annoying, can't we?" Own it.
Cool. So before I jump to George, I'd missed this. Alyssa said a second ago, we were talking about LinkedIn and content and different things like that. And I completely forgot this, guys. If you are looking for content, you probably want to talk to the marketing implementation specialist or your MIS with ATL with all the leads. They've got content packs, graphics, blog posts, different things like that. So have a conversation with your MIS and see if there's some content and blog posts and graphics that they can get for you that you can use on your socials. All right. Cool. Let's go to George. I appreciate great questions today, guys. Right now, I only have a question from George. His hand is up. Please, I want to hear from some more of you all. Raise your hand with questions. I don't care if it's super advanced or really basic. And if anyone has any correction of what one of us has said or you've done something differently, we want to hear from you guys as well. George, go ahead.
Um, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Okay, so a little while ago you spoke about a probate checklist. What would you put in that probate checklist?
All the Leads actually has one that you can use. So talk to your MIS, but I
Okay.
would talk about how to start the process, what they need to do after they've applied and received court approval, what the first step is. So like run newspaper ads to make sure creditors are notified of the death and where to send their bills to. I would talk about when to sell a house, when to clean a house out, when and how to maintain it. I would talk about collecting life insurance money. There's a big long list of things that they can do. So you can either go. I created one that your MIS would have, or you can go to Google and say what are the steps of the probate process, and just read 4 or 5 blogs and kind of compile your own list. But if you want the easy button, go to your MIS, and they'll give you the list that I put together.
Thank you.
And George, I'm a big believer. You want to make it super comprehensive. I always use a guy, and gosh, way back at the beginning of my career, Tom Hopkins used to have a for sale by owner first aid kit. And it was about 32 pages. And the last thing was phone numbers of attorneys to call when you get sued. But the idea is you want to let them know how hard it is and reinforce that they need help. I mean, don't make stuff up, but if it was me, I'd put everything on that list that they need to do if they're trying to do it on their own, and make them realize that they need you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You could put a little article about SRPD, seller real property disclosure. I get a lot of deals actually, like you said. I mean, it's sort of selling with fear or caution, whatever you want to call it. But when I meet with people, I start talking about the SRPD and how important it is that that's filled out correctly, so there is no litigation or lawsuits after the fact. And a lot of people, like, that resonates with them because, again, this is a big deal for them. They've never done it before. And once the home is sold, they don't want someone coming back and suing them. And a lot of agents, if you're on both sides of the transaction, you see the SRPDs are not really filled out properly most of the time.
Mm-hmm. True. Ken, go ahead. For those that don't know, SRPD.
Seller real property disclosure.
Yeah. Got it.
So just the fact that you're letting people know that you're super detailed when you're filling that out, they're like, oh, this guy really sounds like what he knows what he's doing, when somebody else is just kind of rushing through everything. You know, I'm going the extra length. I'm going to make sure you're protected. I know the pitfalls that can happen and why people get sued. And then they're like, oh, this person's really cautious. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that sense of security.
Awesome. Good. So many things that you can put on checklists, so many pieces of content. So back to who'd ask the opening question, content, what to do after you've established communication. Talk about a real property disclosure, residential property disclosure. Pick topics that people don't know about and use that in your email or your direct marketing content when you're following up with people that you've established a relationship with. So I'm going to go to Zoom user. Sorry, I don't know your name in just a second. But before I do, I want to read a question from Roger. Roger had asked, can anyone shine a light on a personal representative attorney? Should you keep them in the loop or should you contact the PR directly? Two completely separate types of campaigns. I like to contact the personal representative and the heirs directly through my marketing and my prospecting. So directly, if I am talking about the estate of John Doe, I'm calling the family. Separately, I am communicating with attorneys, but personally, and some people do this differently, and it's okay. I don't call the attorney and say this is about such and such a state. Okay. I run into resistance when I call the attorney asking about an individual estate, unless I have the family's permission to talk to the attorney. This is about such and such a state. Your client, this person's name told me I could call you. Okay. If the client didn't tell me, if the prospect didn't tell me I could call the attorney, then I'm calling the attorney in general. So I'm calling the attorney, look, I have an estate and a probate business. I'm trying to find some attorneys are an attorney that I can work really closely with. I run into a lot of people that need representation, and I was wondering if I could stop by the office. So I'm not talking about that estate. So if I'm calling about a specific property or a specific estate, I'm going to the family. If I'm talking about my service in general, I'm going to the attorney. All right. Cool. So, Mr. Zoom user, go ahead and unmute yourself. What's your name?
I'm sorry, Russell Thompson. I don't know how to put my name up there.
Oh,
On the
yeah,
left-hand-
Russell. Nice to see you, man. If you click the three dots at the top right of your little square, there's a button that says rename. You can do that in a minute. Actually, we
okay.
already got somebody changed it for you. All right, perfect.
Well,
What do we got?
wow, I love
what do we
it.
got today?
I got a call this morning from a PR who is involved in probate, obviously. His son owned the property. His son passed away, and it doesn't sound like he wants to acquire the property. So I got a couple questions. So can the estate put the property up for sale as is, or does it have to be transferred over to somebody else first?
The estate should sell the property as is, or repaired, either way. It if the property does need to go through probate. Okay. If the property has any kind of survivorship attached to it or beneficiary attached to it, it needs to go to that beneficiary.
Yeah, I'm in Florida. There's no homestead. It's not like a life estate kind of a deal. There's
Yep.
no trust involved. So yes, it's in probate.
And there was no right of survivorship.
No.
Okay.
No.
So the estate should sell the house.
So when I list it, I just put it under the estate's name.
Yeah. And then whoever the personal representative is, in this case, the father, is going to sign on behalf of the estate.
Okay.
And Russell, if I could just interrupt, I'm not sure you're aware that you can probably list it now. You don't necessarily need to wait until the probate's completed.
Yeah, they apparently the attorney has just petitioned the court to sell the property also. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. Now here's the guy was a Air Force guy, passed away, has a VA loan, so he's probably 100% financed. And I just looked at the property value, and it's maybe up $6 or $7 grand above what he paid. Okay. VA loans, in my experience, have always been assumable. Does everybody have that same feeling, or don't you do it?
I mean, you have to jump through the hoops of getting it assumed, and a lot of buyers don't know that they're allowed to do that. But I would market it that way. First is I would call so you need you need permission or authorization to do this, but I would communicate with the bank, and I would ask them if this particular loan would be assumable, and then I would market it that way.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. That's what I was hoping to do.
Yeah. My understanding is that assumable loans for VA stopped somewhere in the 70s, I think. But I think
really?
I think so. But again, I'm not, I wouldn't say for sure, but Bruce is right on the money. I mean, call the bank and see if it's possible, see what they say.
I think you're right, Ken. I think it's been a long time since they were free.
Yeah.
So
well, that shows you how long ago I was in the mortgage business. Okay, thanks, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. So get that property listed and sold. Get an authorization to communicate with the bank, and then ask if it could possibly be assumable. If not, kind of leave that sleeping dog lie. If so, then market it that way.
So if
Yep.
there's a shortfall in that, nobody wants to pay the, 100%, what happens? Does the state make that up, or the bank just assumes it, takes on its chin?
Uh, I would probably try to work on a short sale. A lot of family members, especially ones that feel like they're just done with it, a lot of times they may not have a lot of incentive to cooperate with a short sale, but you could potentially try to short sale it.
You can short
Um,
sale even though it's not in the uh, beneficiary, let's call it beneficiary's name.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
can do that.
Yeah, Ricky, my wife's done a couple thousand short sales. She does very few right now because of the market.
Right.
But it surprised us and her how many people, even though they had nothing to gain, they just didn't want to see grandma's house go to foreclosure. And it's relatively easy because the deceased, you don't need any financials. The person
Mhm.
that died doesn't have finances. You
Right.
just need an authorization and somebody to negotiate with the bank. So I would try that before I just let it go.
Yeah. Well, the attorneys told them not to bother making the mortgage payments on it. Okay.
Oh, great.
So I mean, that obviously it's going to end up in foreclosure at some point. But good ideas.
Yeah.
I'll look into short sale as well as assumable.
You probably want to add that stuff to the agent-to-agent remarks. We don't really talk about that very often, but the attorneys do want the buyers to be aware that it's a probate. In Nevada, sometimes you have to go back to court for a one-day bidding process. Really important to let the buyer's agent know that, because you got to find a buyer that's willing to wait. Sometimes the buyer has to be in a home at, in a certain time frame, and they just will not wait.
Yeah.
You don't want to
Yeah.
be apart. But I'll also talk to the attorney, like Bruce said, contact the attorney and be like, hey, what agent to agent remarks would you like? I'm going to be working on this on this probate. So you find out exactly what they want, but you also start establishing that attorney relationship.
Sure.
Couple of comments that have come in from some folks that know the business really well. Winston believes that another veteran could likely assume that loan if they have their eligibility.
Sure.
Likely. Okay. Obviously, we're still going to follow the same advice: is get authorization to communicate and call the bank, call the lender. And then Joseph or Joe, they're assumable with qualification. That it used to be that you could assume an FHA or VA loan without qualification. Now there has to be qualification. So I trust what these two say, but verify.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks, Russell. Appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay, guys. We don't have any other questions at the moment. So if you have questions, pop your hand up. Otherwise, we may end a little bit early. I'm going to kind of start. Oh, yeah, Sherry, thank you so much. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi, I just wanted to pop in and say I just signed up for the Mastery certification course in the EARN, that bundle that was going on, and also signed up to get the website going. So been looking in my market. I'm tired of direct to seller for the past 3 years and trying to figure out really where to niche out at in my market. And I don't think a lot of people are really focused on helping heirs and probates. I've been through one 10 years ago. It was pretty simple, as I was the only heir with my dad. Come to find out, I got wholesaled on the property once I look back at it, which is fine, but just looking back at how that whole process went down. So just excited to really niche out something in my local market and try to make a difference, and have leads coming to me and me not reaching out to tens of thousands of tired and absentee, just over it.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other thing is we let's say tired and absentee owners, we have no idea if they're really tired. We're just guessing tired. And it might be, you call 100 people and there might be 2 of them in there that are really tired. Okay. You call 100 people in probate and you're going to have 35 or 40 that are needing to sell. Not 100%, but it's a much, much higher ratio of sellers in the probate space. So You picked a good niche.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was actually looking at some county records the other day, and in one of my local counties here, there was 1,145 death certificates on file. So, kind of excited to work with these people and learn everything and just
and you said
into something, move into a different niche in 2024. So
and you said in your probate that they short sold the house and you didn't know that was going to happen. Is that what you alluded to?
no, we didn't short sale at all.
Wholesale it, right.
Yeah, no, it was in Illinois. I'm in Michigan. And needless to say, my dad passed away right before Thanksgiving, and this major snowstorm hit, and so we called the city to have the first they had to gut most of the house because my dad had laid there for like 9 days, and so all of his secretions had to be like hazmated out of there. And so during that time, it was like it's a 1970 something house, never did anything to it, had a water pipe bust, took care of that. And then it was just snowing, and I'm like, my husband's like, call the city, have them shut the water off at the street, and we'll worry about this in the spring. Well, it was like a January day, like late January, and like the sun was shining, there was no snow. I was like, let's take a trip to Chicago and just see how to make sure everything's all good in the house. Well, we rolled up in the driveway and all of the windows were frosted over. They did not shut the water off at the city, at the street. So we walk into the whole crawl space full of water just pouring in there. This is a Sunday afternoon. So we run to the store, get a sump pump, try to start pumping this water out. Obviously the city's not open on Sunday, so I called the police department and I'm like, look, you need to get a hold of the city because you guys supposed to shut this water off, didn't. They come out and they started digging. Well, it's frozen ground. They ended up busting the gas line on the street. So anyways, after all that happened, being so far away and me 10 years not knowing anything about real estate investing, I was like, I'm done with this house. I'm like, I'm over it. I just want to take the cash and run. And so got a hold of a local realtor, and he's like, yeah, I got buyers for this property. And, I let it go for a lot less than probably it was worth. It was like one of the largest lots in the neighborhood. And when I think back of it, when I got into wholesaling 3 years ago, I was like, you know what? I'm pretty sure that was probably a cash buyer that I sold that property to for cheap. I've since went by the property. They restructured it. I tried to not have it.
But that's a good story. That's a good story to share with sellers, right? I'm buying a property right now, and I told them, hey, if you fix this pool up, you'll probably sell it for more. So I was honest with them, but hey, a lot of agents will take advantage of people. It happened to me. If that's how you feel, I'm not sure if that's even how you feel, but hey, be aware of who you're working with, what they're going to do with the property. Are they buying it themselves? Are they going to wholesale it, or are they going to help you sell it on the resale market? But you went through it, so it's a good story that you can relate to people that you talk to.
Yeah, and on this website, I could do my own testament on, and I might do it in a video version, to get more people's attention. But so, I've been through it on the real estate side of it, which has always intrigued me at this point in time. So, like I said, coming into 2024, and I was thinking about probate last year and just kind of put it off. And I'm like, okay, something's got to change coming into 2024. So Pace, I'm in sub 2, so Pace did a YouTube on all the leads and probates, and so I kind of watched that. Then I started watching like all the leads and stuff, and then learning. And I'm like, you know what? Let me just see if I can do this and have it take off for me. So excited to be here, excited to learn. And I'm a testament of probate and have been wholesaled on.
Yep. We were talking about checklists a little bit ago. Put on your checklist. Winterize your property. Shut off the water. All right. Put that stuff on the checklist. because people don't know what you went through, Sherry, is what a lot of people go through. Lots of people go through. Had you not dealt with those issues, you might not have kind of gone through a quick sale or an emergency. Let's just get rid of it sale. You might have gotten more out of it had you known to check on certain things at the time. So let's educate our consumers on those. And if you're an investor in here, um, these kinds of things happen all the time, and people need to sell houses. I've had people fight me over the fact that they wanted a cash offer instead of a listing, even though the listing was their better profit. They've said, nope, I'm just done with it. And so lots of opportunity here if you're a listing agent, an investor, whatever you are, but do take the approach of educating your consumers. They will appreciate it.
Hey, Sherry, just a clarification, was that a recent probate deal you just described, or that was a older deal that you did in the past?
No, that was one I personally went through with my dad 10 years ago.
Okay. 'Cause I wanted to put you in contention for win of the week, but 10 years old doesn't qualify.
And that was hers. That she was PR.
That was my personal, that was my dad's property. So like I said, I've personally been through a probate, and that was in Illinois.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yep. Well, dang
Perfect.
it.
Love it.
Yeah, thank you.
That story, you
Yep.
will be the win of the week. Share that story with enough potential sellers. You'll build that relationship really strongly, and you'll
Yeah.
come back and you will, get that prize.
Yep.
I got a couple of people in here that know the power of stories, but stories. It's how I sell stories. So, Van, do you go by Van? What do you, what do you go by?
I go
Hey.
with Van.
Okay.
You can call me Limousine. That's fine. I go with that too.
Okay. Excellent. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. I'm mostly doing in create finance, like people who pre-foreclosure and tax closure things. So I had approached by a couple seller themselves or the agent asked me about how do I help them with the probate. One client that the husband passed away, the house they bought in a couple years ago. So it's not much of equity in there yet, the low interest, but no equity in there.
Mhm.
They want to do sub two to
Mhm.
get most money out of it.
Yep.
And they want me to tell them how they proceed. Should I not tell the bank? Just go ahead and do a sub two?
Oh gosh. Yeah.
Right.
So legally, you do not have to tell the bank. You don't have to tell the bank. The bank likely has a clause in their in the mortgage. They have a clause that says that upon sale, the balance is owed. Okay. Generally speaking, they don't really care to
You mean do
look
on sale
or
clause?
dig. Yeah, they don't really care if the mortgage is getting paid, generally speaking. Now, could they? Yeah, sure, they could. You don't legally need to tell them. As a matter of fact, if you do tell them, they're almost certainly going to call it due unless you go qualify to take over the loan.
But
Okay.
also, how do you sign the contract?
Yeah, I'll go over that in 2 seconds. Jim,
Oh,
what do you
okay.
have? Yeah.
No, I was just going to say, obviously, you don't have to tell the bank, but I would make sure you disclose to the seller, the
Yeah.
negative things that could happen, and do that in writing. Do that
Yep.
in writing. It's called a CYA letter, cover yourself letter, just to make sure.
Yes, I
Yeah.
do have the seller acknowledgement and addendum for sub 2 one, but for mostly, I tell you, I buy mostly for bankruptcy, for divorce, people like that, for sub 2, I take over mortgages. But in this case that I'm like, I can help you, but I don't know that legal thing yet,
Mhm.
because yes, you don't have to tell the bank, and do on sale clause can happen, and I can have to give back the deed to you, right?
Yep.
Usually could that happen? I will tell them, listen, if the bank say, hey, bank, I already either pay for this all this year already. You want to deal with me now, or what you do? I can give back the deed to the owner. They do that to me, just return to them. It's fine. We negotiate with them, which most of the time they don't care because paperwork take too long for that. But in this case, the seller, like you can go through this paperwork with how do they sign
How
paper
do
if
they
they
sell?
that?
Yeah. So they put the property into a trust. Okay. And that trust is typically a land trust. So put the
Not
property
in
into a
Texas.
trust. Yeah, maybe not in Texas. Yeah, but they're going to put it in a trust normally. And then they are selling you their beneficiary position in that trust. Okay. So you're buying in as the beneficiary of the trust. Then you refinance the property. Not you don't refinance the property. Please forgive me. I'm totally misspeaking. So you put it in the trust. You become the new beneficiary. You set up a third-party processor that you pay every month with the mortgage payment. So you're going to pay this third-party processor. They're going to pay the bank what's owed, and they're going to send the seller whatever's left. Okay. I probably wouldn't do this long term. I'd do it on a short-term balloon where I pay the seller off in a couple of years. You could do it long term. You could absolutely do it long term.
Yeah.
But do be prepared. I mean, the bank may see what's happening and call it due. It's very low likelihood that the bank is going to call it due. They're normally not going to go digging if the mortgage is being paid. But if they go digging, they're going to call it due.
Yes. And another client come to me and she say she took care of the father when before he died for 8 years. So people understand that her house is the father give to her pretty much. Then she gave to another brother to live on there. The brother is how to call this, a little bit slow meditation, slow one, and he lived there and he get people squat in with him and like pretty much ruin the house. Now he's sick, dying in hospital, and they don't know what happened to the house. And people leave the house right now. And she said that because she want to really clean up the house and do the whole process before the state take over, because it no such of the will in there. But the sibling did not agree each other about this house. They want a piece of it, but they don't want to deal with it. So she said, how do I approach this? How can I help her to really give her some idea what to do first? The checklist for me is like, you want to clean up, but yet you don't want some money go to you. You want to put money on it to do that first. So how do I help her?
So
I
this is
told
the
her,
same.
like, say, reach out to your sibling and ask what they want to do. Do they want to be like hands off or involve and take care together? And she
You could
said,
always
like,
offer a solution where you just take care of everything for them or with them. You could always offer a solution like that, where essentially you say, look, and you might charge for it. You might not charge for it. Normally when I'm doing these things, as long as I'm getting the real estate deal, I won't charge for it. Okay. But some people do. Some people say, hey, you know what I'm going to put in? I'm going to evict the squatters. I'm going to clean the house up. I'm going to get it ready for the market. I'll pay for certain things. If I was going to do that, I'd want to make sure that I got that listing, or maybe had an novation agreement to where we could share the growth and equity that I get. So you could do those things for free. I always recommend that you offer to be involved in helping them take this stuff off their plate at whatever level they want. If they want you to completely do everything for them, go for it. Make sure that you're protected in a way that you know that you have the deal, or that you've signed an agreement to buy the house before you really, or list the house before you really go through all those things. Unless you just want to do those things out of the kindness of your heart, which is great. It's not a problem to help people out of goodness.
Is that the problem between the sibling? Do I want to involve, or I want to like you set up that first? Or you want to clear first?
Oh yeah, I'll kind of play mediator to a degree. If the siblings are disagreeing, I'll maybe arrange a in-person meeting or a Zoom meeting where we talk about the things that everyone wants, and then I'll make a proposal back to them and say, based on everything that you guys have said, I propose that I take care of these 10 things for you. Okay, how's everybody feel about that?
Okay.
Feel good? Okay, let's get started. I'll send over the paperwork. Okay. And this is one where you would buy the house, correct? Yeah. Okay. So I would just if I'm buying the house, I would probably just take care of this stuff for them. And so but if you're going to do subject to, put it in a trust, and then they are selling their beneficiary seat. So as soon as it goes into a trust, someone is going to be named the beneficiary while they own the property. Before closing, one of the family members or all the family members are named beneficiary. So what you're doing is you're buying their position as beneficiary. And if the bank calls it due, be prepared to do a quick sale and sell it or give it back somehow. You're probably going to have to sell it if the bank calls the note due.
Hey, Bruce,
Oh,
before we
sorry.
go,
Go ahead, Van. Van.
Okay, yes. For the one that the husband and wife, the husband passed, how do he sign his trust? Or they have to go through if you create a trust of that property, he already passed. So
You're gonna have to get a lawyer to do it.
okay,
Yeah.
it's still can doable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, he obviously can't sign. So, and not to make light, but he can't sign. So have an estate planning and trust attorney jump through those hoops. Those are not hoops that I'm ever willing to jump through myself without the help of a good trust attorney.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
Clean out, I mean, you could buy the house and then clean out the house afterwards too, I would imagine, right? I mean, you know, it seems like that'd just be the fastest way to get them to their you know, to their money, which is probably what they want anyway. You know, have just the items that they want to remove from the house, but other than that, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. That's the simplest way, I think.
Agree. Jim,
Jim, you've got
Alyssa already answered Francine's question. You can watch the replay on YouTube.
and Alyssa has hang on for 1 minute, guys. For those of you that are here, hang on. We've got a promotion that we need to talk about.
Also, Jim, did you announce the winner of the week?
I think it's pretty safe to. I was going to do that in the closing. Pretty sure to say that Sheila is our winner of the week. Congratulations.
Okay, good job. Yeah, for those of you that stuck around, I want to offer you also some money. We are doing a quick promotion through Valentine's Day, kind of a sweetheart deal, if you will. Anybody who offers a referral, the first-time referral, if you haven't referred anybody before, we're going to do a first-time referral kind of a contest. And for the first referral that you make, we'll give you $50 in account credit for the first referral that you make and get you set up as an affiliate so that you can make some more money along the way. And guys, we give out, literally, we write thousands of dollars in affiliate commissions every month, and we'd love to do that for you as well. So if you know somebody in another market that, you're not, that you're friends with, almost all of you know realtors or other people in other markets that potentially would benefit from working the same things that you're benefiting from. Please, refer them to us. And if they decide to become a customer, we'll be happy to grease your palms with some good stuff. So we'd look forward to doing that. That's how we grow our business and continue to do the great things that we do for you. We appreciate you and return the favor. That's it.
Perfect. And Francine wants to know where to sign up. I'm not sure what you're signing up for, but whatever it is,
Probate.
Go ahead,
Probate.
Bruce, tell her where to go.
Yeah, go to alltheleads.com/check my county, or go to alltheleads.com and there's a chat button and a phone number on the website. You can call in and ask for that. But if you go to check my county, you'll get pricing information and someone will get you set up.
And if
All
you're
right,
asking
Jim,
about
take it
how to
away.
sign up for the referral, same place. If you're already a customer and want to know how to do that, just ask anybody that just call the 800 number and we'll get you squared away with that as well.
Perfect, guys. Well, another great call, particularly great call for participation. This was one of the better ones in a long time. Again, congratulations to Sheila with the best win of the week story. And I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to particularly thank Sheila and Coley and Emily and George and Russell and Sherry and Van for actively participating. And I want to challenge each of you, take one idea that inspired you on this call, Go out and put it into practice and come back next Thursday and share your results with the group. Have a great week, everybody. Same time next week. Take care.